platforms today. And our intent is to figure out from the experts, from the people who've done it, regardless of the amount of success they've seen. Jonathan and I don't want to bring people necessarily who have like 10 bestsellers and have like 50 million followers on one platform and 2 million on another. We don't mind getting those people, but also I find that sometimes those stories are almost not relatable anymore because of the so much success that those individuals have seen. And it's not to say that because you've had that much success that you don't have stories to share anymore. But when you are so much farther ahead, and when you're listening to somebody who feels like they're that much farther ahead, it's just not that relatable anymore. So, or as much. And so that's why we try to find people who've seen incredible success in all lines of work, and they might not have achieved Oprah fame, but they are incredible in their line of expertise. So hopefully you will benefit from their knowledge. I know we do, just in preparing for these interviews, and we appreciate you being here. So Jonathan, I will let you kick it off to tell us about FounderStream, and I will intro our guest.
Yeah, most definitely. So thanks again. And everybody, we are in the FounderStreams Club. FounderStream is all about founders, investors, everything in between. If you are watching on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter, you are able to comment there, and we'll go ahead and add you to the question. So if you have a question, you can just say so, write that in there. It'll pop up on the screen. We'll ask it. But yeah, we're doing rooms all the time. We do events and conferences all the time. So I'd love to have you here. We do have an accelerator that we do as well, and a studio. So happy for that. So are we ready for today's guests? Oh.
I'm so honored to be here. Paris, you and I have been on the radio together, but never in this format together. So I'm really excited to speak, to connect tonight.
Well, the first question is always the same for all our guests, and I'm so excited to hear what your take is on it. In a world where social platforms are driving communication and marketing, information, culture, basically everything, do you think it's possible right now in this day and age where it's not at the onset anymore, we're not pioneers anymore, do you think it's possible for anyone, whether they're entrepreneurs or athletes or just, somebody who wants to be a mommy blogger or somebody who's a subject matter expert, is it still anybody's game? Can anyone make it?
I totally think it can. I think if your message resonates with an audience, anyone can make it. And not only can they make it, but they can literally make it with a very minimal startup budget. So if your audience, like I said, if what you put out there resonates with people, then that means that anyone can make it. And that's there's social proof by people starting new. I mean, I know people who have just thrown up new Instagram accounts or social media accounts months ago, like as test for shits and giggles, just to see, like, can you build a platform from scratch? And absolutely, the game is open. The ring is open for anyone, 100%.
I love that. I'll go right to question two.
I want to start back in the 90s when you were starting out a business from home. You successfully grew it at a very, very rapid rate. And that was before there was any social media. And I mentioned that because you worked out all of that in an industry where connections, where speaking to people, where networking was the thing. And you did it like before LinkedIn, before Instagram, before Facebook. And I would love to know, how did you do it back then? And when you look at the trajectory that you started off with, what were you doing back then that you find you're still doing now?
So it's wild. I can't even, sometimes I wonder, how did I do it? Just because there's so many free tips and resources that are easily accessible at fingertips now that were really not available then. I did the old fashioned cold call, knock on doors. I really did that. I would sit and call everyone I knew to grow my business and sell them my products. So there was no shortcut or secret or way. Advertising was very expensive. I had to be very innovative and creative, although I was an early adopter of the internet, of the WWW World Wide Web. So my first company was founded in 1999, and it was premium and incentive promotional items for companies. So because I had an online presence early, and I was learning about SEO, and I had a website, companies like Microsoft and AOL, if you remember that, America Online, like these were, and Bombardier here in Quebec, just companies were finding me online. Ernst & Young. My God, I remember, if you remember Don Rickles, like his wife, Barb Rickles, found me online, and we did all the stuff for her for Don's 80th birthday. So companies were finding me online. And what we did is we just did volume-based promotional items. So I was doing these companies, pens, t-shirts, caps, mugs, as well as their holiday gifts, everything volume-based, usually with a corporate logo. And so I literally got started by making a list of everyone I knew. My boyfriend my husband was my boyfriend at the time, my dad, like who did I know? Who had companies, transport, banking, pharma, like what were the industries that I knew? Even like, transportation, all the different industries. Who were the players? Who had a large enough company who had the budget to pay for this? And people understood the value of promoting their brand and getting it out. There was no social media back then. People needed, like, if you were at a trade show, you needed to give away trade show giveaways at your booth. You wanted someone to walk around with the canvas sort of tote bag with your XYZ granola company, or, so that's how I started. I started on the heels of failure. When I didn't get into MBA school, I bought my GMATs, and I had saved up $5,000 working from home. I spent $2,500 on a website and $2,500 on a ticket to the New York gift show to hook up with some suppliers and get some samples. And on September 11th, 1999, I registered my company for $37, called everyone I knew, and never looked back. And 7 years after that, sold my company to, we were acquired by Canada's largest retail chain of bags. In the process, we became a Profit Hot 50 company, one of 50 emerging growth companies. I was the only female CEO on the list at the time, unfortunately. Felt like, we've come a long way with women and breaking glass ceilings, but we have long ways to go. And so I had a great run there. And then just was on, also kind of on the brink of a burnout, and was happy to sell my company, stay home, and became a mom. I had one son at the time. I was pregnant with my second son, and I just wanted to kind of stay home and recoup from that. And then in 2009, gave birth to my second business. Yeah.
Look, sorry,
I'm waiting for Jonathan because I'm
sorry.
curious.
I was looking for where I couldn't unmute. So I love how you said that, gave birth to your second business. When you're doing entrepreneurship, I mean, it seemed a lot riskier then, right? I mean, everything that you're talking about there's just so much risk tied to it. And so what took you down that path? What led you to want to get into entrepreneurship to begin with?
So I think that, like, I came out of the womb, I think, as a wannabe entrepreneur. That was my play as a child. I was like in the basement. I always owned something. I owned a restaurant, or like, I just always wanted to be my own boss. And so what happened is when I had planned to go to MBA school and then eventually start my own company. But when I didn't get into MBA school and bought my GMATs, I seized that opportunity as a chance. And I look back now and I can't believe the risk as a 24-year-old young girl. What I did, I went into the bank and I said, I need a line of credit. I'm starting a company. And I proved to them, I gave them a business plan and I proved to them that I was, I'd won all these sales awards at my first job. And I showed them, I'm like, if you help me, I will not disappoint you. I can sell anything. I will sell these items. You will not be sorry for believing in my idea. And when I wrote my first book called The 99 Things Women Wish They Knew Before Starting Their Own Business, I explained to them, when you're writing a business plan, don't forget to put yourself into the plan, because the bank gave me almost $100,000 line of credit at 26 years old with no track record, not because they believed in promotional items. I entered a really competitive space, but because they believed in me. So I say, never forget to put your product or your service or your idea, but put you as the visionary, as the entrepreneur, as the founder into that business plan. Really important. So I don't know. The truth is, I don't know. I guess I was young enough to not be afraid of risk. And Paris and I had that conversation before. I'm grateful to my parents, I think, who raised me to just not be afraid of failure. It was never a word. And I think a lot of us are afraid of failure. And especially with social media, we are afraid of getting a hateful post or people, being embarrassed or writing a bad comment or the haters. I was raised to that failure was not a bad word. All it meant is that if we tried hard and we failed, we don't fail, we fail forward. And so every time things don't go our way, we use them as an opportunity to learn, to go back to the drawing board, to come out stronger. And so I was never afraid of failure. So I'm like, I tell my kids, what is the elephant in the room? What is the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to fail. Or, and so how can you bounce back from that? That's the worst thing that's going to happen. Right. And so that was, and when you're raised with parents who believe in you and who teach you how to believe in your idea, you're not afraid to risk. You grow up with good self-esteem. And as a mom, I'm trying to raise kids in the same way so that they believe in themselves. And I tell them, you can do anything through hard work, because I want to raise the next generation of people who will also risk and who are also resilient and who will also take a chance on themselves and bet on themselves. So I think a lot of it is how you were raised. If you were raised to not be fearful of failure, you're not afraid to be ballsy, to be bold, to take risks, because the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to fail. And so you're going to pivot, you're going to see what went wrong, and you're going to go back to the drawing board and see how you can come out stronger and better next time.
Failure is so different for different people, because failure to some means bankruptcy. The failure to some could mean losing your home. It's failure is so much deep. I feel like because you started off so young and because you were able to make those mistakes, it kind of made you a bit fearless towards making those mistakes again, or making mistakes that could hurt you, because you had that, not just the safety net, but the safety net where mentally you knew how to bounce back. So I think it's so important.
I think also, just to let you know about that question, and that was a great point. And so when I coach women all the time, and I help a lot of women moonlight their startups, right? I always tell them they never walk away from something until the next thing is really ready for them, because I don't want that. I don't want their new business to bankrupt, for them to go bankrupt, for them to lose that new business without having built up. So it's very important that they leave that job to go to that full-time startup when they are good and ready. So it's about taking risks, but they have to be calculated, well thought out risks. I'm not just saying go do things and go try things. They have to be well calculated. You have to be well funded. You have to have a contingency plan. I mean, a whole bunch of things have to be in place. It's not just let's start a business and see what the hell happens. Yeah, that's not at all what I mean. It's but yes, back then for sure, when you're younger, you have a different mindset than if you're starting a new business at, let's say, 60 or 55. Absolutely. You have those years of maybe, with more caution, but yes, for sure. I was young. I believed in my idea, and I went for it. And thankfully it worked out, but for sure, that's why it's important to take calculated risks and not just be, random risk taker.
I'm wondering, in terms of other than risk taking and other than basically learning as you go and like really throwing yourself into the deep end. What were some of the takeaways? Because a lot of people are like social media, like this is a whole new world and we're figuring things out as we go. But I would love to know from someone who's doing it and doing things that were quote unquote very social media-esque, and how you would connect with people, about how you were putting yourself out there with newsletters, just your knowledge or like your gut instinct towards like starting to blog early. I'm wondering what your takeaways are from my pre-social media world that you apply to the current market.
Wow. Well, again, we all have these tips and tools that are resources that everyone can throw out a newsletter. And I think that every single company or person or solopreneur should be list building all the time. So you should always be collecting email addresses. There should always be a call to action in your bio, in your social media bio, where you're giving, a lead magnet or a freebie, where you're collecting. We know the conversions of email is like the highest. You don't own your followers on social media, but you own your list. And so it's really, really important. So I'm getting sidetracked on why that mattered, but anyone can send a newsletter, anyone can do that. But as far as any of the tools from the past that I brought forward, honestly, this is probably not the answer you're looking for, but it's just sheer grit and tenacity. Those are the only things that I took from the past. Like everything, it's a new world today. We can reach people's inboxes. You can text people now. The next wave of reaching people, right, is not in their inboxes, is texting them on their phone. There's a lot bigger open rate for people who get, who are texts, we see all the time, all these celebrities are like, here's my phone number, text me, add me to your address book. And so they reach you and then they sell you products right on your phone. It's really, really intimate. But I would say the only thing I took from the past that could be applicable today is, like I said, is grit, is tenacity, is a hard, is a work ethic. And the other thing is when I was nearly burning out, when I had my first company, what I took from that was, so I went into therapy because I was closely embarking upon burnout. And my therapist said something really smart to me, and that was, Erica, don't throw water on your flame. Don't dull your shine. Don't stop doing what makes you talented. Just complement it with a balanced lifestyle. And that was the birth for me of yoga and meditation. And so I've been practicing yoga and meditation daily for 20 years. And when I started to work with women as a certified life coach 4 years ago, after working with their minds, I wanted to get certified and work with their bodies. And so so I took that forward, which is, I'm not going to burn out again. And social media, there's this whole digital wellness piece is really, really important because we're always on. It's really super invasive. So I would take that from the past to now, which is the lines, especially during COVID, the lines have been really blurry between home and work. And I say, like, in my course, Busy to Bliss, I teach a 4-week mindset and body transformation course for women. I say, like, before, and I'm going to show my age, if you remember the show, Mr. Rogers, he would come through the door. And when he came through the door at the end of a hard, working day, he would take off his blazer and he would put on his comfy sweater and he would throw his kind of work shoes and put his slippers on. And that would kind of mark the transition of work to play or work to home. And now, especially because of COVID, with so many people who've been working from home, we've managed to become these sort of, machines, these robotic, hyper multitasking machines where we can throw in a pot of meat sauce, throw in a load of laundry, do a Zoom call, but that comes at a cost. So I experienced that cost in, many years ago, 20 years ago, and that's what I took forward. I don't want to do that again. And so I'm really careful and mindful, and that's what I do. I help women master their self-care. And that is like a really new kind of trendy term, but it is the root to everything. It is how we can thrive personally and professionally. If we are not taking care of ourselves, especially in the 5 pillars of well-being, which is what you eat, how you sleep, how you manage stress, how you connect socially, and how you eat, sleep, move, manage stress, and connect socially. If you're not playing in those pillars, then you're going to notice that you're not thriving at work or at home. So I help women create toolboxes around time management, a lot around mindset. Mindset's really important also. That's something that from the past that I took forward, which is a lot of us are living in a scarcity mindset with a lot of limiting beliefs. And so I help women especially go from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. And I teach them how to thought challenge those limiting beliefs, some of which they think are true, which are mostly not even true. And so we start with mindset. So to transform your life and to change your life right now, if you're stuck or you're not taking care of yourself, it all starts with mindset. because we can't begin to change our lives if we're in a scarcity mindset. And then from there, we can move on to energy and well-being and take care of our health. And then once our mind and our body is on par, then we can move into time management. We can begin to reclaim our days and time manage like a boss, and shed all the shit that's not working for us and keep there what we need and what we want to have there. And then my fourth step to transformation is transformation, which is habit hacking, which is once you learn how to change your life and you get unstuck, and once you're in that place of flow, how do you keep the how do you make the transformation stick? And so it takes about 21 days to form a new habit, and about 66 days up to about 6 months for those habits to become more automatic. So those are some of the few things I take from the past. But yes, digital wellness, I think, is a big conversation because, like I said, we're just always on. There's such an erosion of work to life, and the lines are blurry, and we think we can go on for a long time and thrive, but I promise you it takes its toll. It really does.
The taking the toll part definitely can relate to that. So you've tackled kind of like these different careers. How important how crucial is passion to the success that you've been able to make out?
Wow.
And I just want to clarify that, Eric.
Because the reason I want to clarify that is because everyone's like, find your passion and you'll succeed. But as somebody who's done so many different things, from blogging to starting your own business to starting a new business now to the coaching to the yoga, are you passionate about all those things? And how did you know you're passionate? So I'm asking in the sense of, is passion, we all know we need to be passionate to be successful, or actually like what we're doing at an extra level to be extra successful. But I'm just wondering, how were you discovering there was passions, or was it you were trying different things and then discovered you were passionate about them?
Sure. Great question. So what I want to talk about, so I think passion, in every talk that I speak about, I always talk about passion. I think it's a really important piece to what you're doing, right? There's a lot of people who are very good at what they do, but they hate it. And so those kinds of people, a lot of those people I coach are very torn because they're like, what I do puts food on my table, it pays my mortgage, it sends my kids to private school, but I hate it and I'm not passionate about it, but I do well at it and I thrive at it. And so those are tricky situations. So for people like that who want the nice lifestyle that maybe their talent gives them, but the passion is lacking, we talk about finding passion and hobbies out of work. But what I want to talk about that, which I think is a really nice thing to share, is in finding your passion and deciding whether, how to manifest that in your day-to-day life. I always say, think where these four things intersect: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs now, and what can you get paid for? And so that's a really big question, which is if you're sitting and you're in career transition and you're not living in purpose or passion or in flow, think about that. What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need now? What can you get paid for? So I think passion comes into play for sure. I really think it does. And I think obviously if you love what you're doing, you'll be, chances are you'll be more successful at it. But I just wanted to touch on those people who are not passionate, who most people go to a job they hate. Most people are not living in purpose and passion. If you're one of the lucky few who wakes up and is excited to wake up, I consider myself in that lucky minority. I get up and I absolutely love what I do. My days are always different. I have about 5 jobs. It's a little bit weird. People say to me, like, do you really do all those things in your bio? Yes, I really do those things, but I love it because one day I speak, I work on global TV, I have a podcast, a blog, I speak, I have a new business, Bliss Essential. I teach a digital course. I have a whole life coaching life coaching practice. I teach yoga. Like, I do a lot of different things, but it lights me up because every day is different. So for me, I'm living in purpose and passion and flow. But the truth is most people are just trying to pay the bills, pay their mortgage, and most people are not in passion. So if it takes it's a long process, but sometimes people choose to stay in those situations because those jobs, they have decided that those jobs afford them a lifestyle that they want to live. I have a lot of clients who are lawyers who freaking hate law. They hate it. And to me, I'm like, you're a lawyer at a top law firm doing like mergers and acquisitions. It's so interesting. They're like, it's brutal. And they hate it. Right. So, and that's just one example, but there are people who, and they're like, I do it because it gives me the things that I love to do. And so they don't want to walk away from that. So we look and we see how we can inject passion into the rest of their days, hobbies, a lot of self-care. So I think passion's really important. It's been very important to my success. I have yet to do something I'm not passionate about. But I'm prepared to do something that I'm not passionate about. If I needed to, if I had to support my family, I would do what it takes. I'm a survivor. I'm a thriver. So if I had to fucking hate what I did, I would do it if it fed my family. So that is just what most of the world is living, is most people just hate what they do. It's the truth. About the stat, I think, is about like 89% or 88% of people wake up and go to a job they really dislike. That's a lot. So if that's you, and if you're not in a position to moonlight a startup or leave, see how you can inject more fun, more play, and more passion and more self-care into your life to make kind of those 8-hour, 9-hour days a little bit more tolerant and more tolerable,
Yeah, there's still baby steps you can take, like you're saying, right? Like, yeah, maybe you can't leave that horrible job, but yeah, what's something that you can do on the side here and there? It's not like you have to start a new company tomorrow, but you can still take some of those steps. Literally said that. Sorry, go ahead, Paris.
Oh, good. I wanted to talk about, because you were mentioning to make it fun and to make it playful, and a lot of people use social media to make things fun or playful, or use it as an escape. And we know that it's possible to make a business off of social media, to make a lot of money off of social media. And it's such a question for people sometimes still, like, how do you do it? How do you build a following? How do you build an audience? And I wanted to know from you, as somebody who recognized right away that you could incorporate the online platform. I mean, long before we're talking about Instagram, you were what you call a mommy blogger, and you started it right away. And you're talking about SEO long before probably the average person knew what SEO was. So when how did you integrate it? How did you learn? And I'm asking that because a lot of times these days people don't know where to start either, and everyone's buying these online courses or buying followers. I'm just wondering, for you, what would your advice be to somebody who doesn't know where to start? How to recognize what platform to start on, and how to figure out how to do it?
Sure. Well, like I said, you're correct. I mean, I've been doing this since 1999. I had an early website when people didn't even know what websites were. It's true. I did SEO and all those things. What I would say to someone who's trying to start a business or an audience, I would say, and which platform to use, I would say go where your ICA plays. Your ICA meaning your ideal client avatar. So for me, for example, I coach women. Where are they playing? I coach a lot of female entrepreneurs, a lot of working moms. That's what the majority of my practice is. I teach them yoga. I sell them essential oils. They watch me on TV. They listen to my podcast. They buy my book. They come hear me speak. So my whole platform, everything that I throw to my audience, they come. So where are they? Most of them are on Instagram and most of them are on Facebook. So I've stepped away a lot. I used to live on Twitter and I love Twitter. Like I felt like Twitter my tweets were my peeps before. Like I loved it. It was my favorite platform. And then I started to love Instagram. I think you should go where you enjoy, where you're going to consistently show up, and where your clients are. That's if you're trying to build an audience. So for me, I really built the majority of my audience on Twitter. So when I started my blog, so when I sold my company in 2006 and then started womenonthefence.com in 2009. So I was an early kind of social entrepreneur. So that caught fire really quickly because I was sharing articles in a really very vulnerable, and I look back at that early writing, I'm like, shit, those were really, like, I really went to the depths of darkness and really shared myself before I became a certified life coach. And before, for some reason, I felt like I had to put like my professional hat on. I was really raw and authentic. And so I was tweeting out the articles to womenonthefence.com and people like Demi Moore and Ellen DeGeneres and Brooke Burke and Denise Richards with millions of followers, like these moms and these Diane Sawyer, all these people, Gordon Ramsay, he was reading these people were reading my blog, and they started to follow, and then they started to retweet my links. And they're like, this girl's really talking about motherhood and womanhood in like a really raw, real way. And And so that really resonated. So that was the building of my audience, was definitely through Twitter. And then I started to love Instagram and Facebook. Like I said, I don't go on, like, you know, and I say, don't be everywhere because you can't sustain it. I don't go on Pinterest. I never go there. I know that it's actually a great feeder for my website, but I don't go on Pinterest because I'm not interested in Pinterest. So I don't go there. I go where I can show up religiously, where I can offer the best content and best value for my audience. I show up where I can win. So where can you show up and win? And where is your audience hanging out? Be where your audience is. What are you selling? Are you selling a product? Are you selling a service? Are you selling jewelry? Are you selling organic juice? Are you selling web design? What are you selling? You know, are you doing B2B or B2C? So make sure to be where they are. And then I say also, like, you can't replace IRL. So social media is wonderful, but real connections happen in real time. I see Dr. Jill in the audience. Hi, Dr. Jill. Like, she is manifesting a movement called, you know, Everything is Right About You. And she is taking that platform from, you know, Facebook and Clubhouse to in real life. She's like going to meet these communities. She's, you know, organizing events. So I'm saying for your thing or your brand to take off, I think it's important. I host women's, before COVID, I host 100 women empowerment get-togethers in Montreal. We did something called Off the Fence and Wise. We did another one called Media Women Montreal. So I think it's important to not only be where your audience is on social, but also in real life. Like, get out there. It's actually fun. It's actually awesome to, you know, I suggest to my clients, make sure you're networking, getting out there to 1 to 2 networking lunches or breakfasts a month, because the law of attraction is a real thing. Because it's real and it's spectacular. And when you go with the intention of being open and you go with the intention of low expectations, like, I'm just going to show up and whatever happens, happens. And I'm going to be open and I'm going to talk to people and I'm going to give them my contact. Magic really happens. I don't think that's bullshit. I think it's really real. In fact, I know it's real.
I love that you mentioned it.
By the way, before we go to the next question, because every time law of attraction is mentioned, people are like, oh, so I'm going to sit on my butt and things are going to come to me. And I love that you mentioned it in that context, that you believe in the law of it, but you believe in that people have to take the action, inspired action, and then there will be a return. But you have to go to those networking events. You have to meet people. You have to put yourself out there. You can't just stay at home. And then magically your company is going to launch and you have millions in sales. Like, that's not how it's going to work. So I love that you outlined that. Jonathan, go ahead. Or I'll go.
No,
so if you were starting an account,
I couldn't find the mic. I'm going.
I wasn't sure. You can't find your mic.
I can't find the mic. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Paris. Yeah, but what Paris was going to ask is, so everything you just talked about, you talked about getting on Twitter and not so much Pinterest, etc. If you were to start today, how would you do it? How would you start now with what you know and how things have changed?
I am. 8 weeks ago, I started my 4th company, and I'm starting from scratch. And I have how many? 700 followers, 800 followers for Bliss Essential. So I am starting from scratch, and it's mother effing hard. I mean, I have a built-in audience, but I said, like, how did I grow my audience? Because, like, this is so hard. It's hard. The internet, social media, it's very saturated. You have to be able to stand out. So, I mean, things that have helped me, if you want to get, you know, knee deep or nitty gritty into social media, reels obviously are really helpful. If you could do some storytelling and teach someone the 5 tips to bang, 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 to a great song, to a great visual, that's really helpful. That's what I'm doing. So Jonathan, you asked me, how do you do it? I'm doing it now. I show up every day. Some posts are well received. I literally get 7 likes on Bliss Essential account. So I'm trying to straddle, do I show it to my Erica Diamond audience where, the community's there? Do I saturate, do I want to throw too much Bliss Essential to them because they've seen so many other things? They see me in life coaching and speaking and the podcast and TV. I feel like I can't throw all Bliss Essential to them, but I definitely have to throw it to them because the Bliss Essential audience is only 7.5 weeks old. The audience isn't mature enough. So I want to leverage what I have, but it's hard. I have most of the sales are coming from my platform, right? It's expensive to drive traffic to the new Shopify site. I mean, we're doing Facebook ads, we're doing everything, but what's converting has been me, my audience, my built-in thing. So if I was starting today, It is really hard because I'm living it now. But you got to show up. You got to give value. Reels have been really helpful when I teach people why essential oils matter. So I launched Bliss Essential 7 weeks ago. Why? Because it was a self-care product. I teach women how to, master their self-care, mindset, time, energy, well-being. And I wanted to leave them with a product that they could use to feel good every day, to help them take their self-care, help them level up their self-care. So I've been an essential oils junkie for a decade. And what I noticed in COVID is my clients were struggling with the same pain points. I was seeing it over and over again. Not enough sleep, too much stress, and low energy and focus. And I said, I want to create, because I love essential oils. I use them for sleep, for energy. And so I have teamed up with the leading pioneer, like the leading chemist and lab in essential oils. I literally have, I don't say this lightly, like the greatest, the best essential oils in the world. They're from Morocco. They're from Tanzania. They're from around the world. They're all third-party lab certified and tested in the United States, bottled in Quebec. And so I saw that my clients were struggling with the 3 pain points, and I wanted to create something very high quality, very special that would help them with their daily self-care from morning till night. And so those 3 pain points turned into Sleep Easy. So our blend is called Sleep Easy, stress-free, and then good vibes for energy and focus. And tomorrow we launch our 4th blend, which is called Immunity Army. And that is as we enter back to school and cold and flu season, eucalyptus oil, tea tree oil, cinnamon bark, clove, orange, but like all, so these are golden, liquid sunshine in a bottle. And so Jonathan, I'm right back there. I'm 7 weeks old with a little infant and a seedling, and it's a shit ton of work. It's a lot of work, but I love it and I'm passionate about it. And I'm going to see the course, like I'm seeing it through. And every day when those sales come in, I'm like, oh my God. So funny. I was speaking to a girlfriend. I'm like, if I stop talking about it for a day, our sales are really low. I'm like, dude, it's a beast to feed. So make no mistake, even though we have social media as free tools, it's expensive. If you want to keep traffic to your site, you need to keep those Instagram, Facebook ads. You have to show up, you have to offer value. But the days where I'm too busy, swamped, and in my office with my coaching clients and I can't leave, or I'm speaking, or I'm on global news, or like when I don't get to speak about Bliss, there's hardly any sales that day. Like, it's crazy. I'm like, when is this going to be its own feeding thing? And I was speaking to my girlfriend. She's like, good luck. Same with me. Like, if I don't talk about my product, I don't have sales. So that is a new thing, because my old products, my old business, always like it constantly moved, whether I was talking about it or not. So this is a new thing. I don't quite know what that's about. When I stop talking about it, the sales quiet down. But it's a lot of showing up, but a lot of value. Again, if you're trying to grow your business, I would really suggest working on Reels. They've been really effective in growing my sales and growing my audience. So again, people love quick tips, quick takeaways. What's special about your company? So for me, like if I'll do, let's say, I'll do, like I just did 5, yoga poses for office chair yoga. So if you're feeling stressed during the day, here are 5 things you can do. See if you can offer some tips or value in your space. I'm just trying to think of an example. If you sell, for example, smoothies, like why does someone need to eat healthy? So you give a reason, like why have smoothies? Boom, boost your immune system. Like if you can give value around what you're selling, and not be as salesy, more as a community leader and more as offering, value to your audience, that will resonate and convert better than if they smell a sales pitch. Like sometimes we just have to sell. When I'm in a launch, so I have a digital course for women called Busy to Bliss at busytobliss.com. And that's a 30-day mindset and body transformation for busy women to reclaim their time and energy. When I'm in a 10-day launch, I'm annoying. I annoy myself. I'm like in a full out sales pitch launch because I want to convert as many women as possible. I want a beautiful group of women. So if we have to be salesy at times, I guess it has to be done sometimes, but just think, how can I serve? How can I show up and do good? How can I show up and offer value for my community? And that is, I think, the secret to growing a community, where you put, the dollars away and just try and serve. And then in the back end, it ends up converting to dollars, but show up and serve. I've always been a shower upper and server. It's who I am.
I love that you just said you've always been, because I wanted to know, you are so essential to the brands that you've done. So, I mean, you've started multiple companies. We've spoke about them. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Erica Diamond. She's a longtime founder and entrepreneur. She just started her 4th company. It's 7 weeks deep, new, nascent, as she's been talking about. So the struggle keeps going. It's not that you figured it out one time. It's like figured out forever, and she's going through the processes again. And Erica is well known in Montreal, actually in Canada and around the world, if you follow her blog. And she has a very, very large audience in Montreal. We know her as a morning show correspondent as well. She's a big shot tomorrow morning as well, super early. So we're super grateful that you're here with us tonight. And your personal brand is so well known, and you've developed it so well. And you were talking originally about, Bliss, which is your new company, and the audience being smaller. And I would love to know, for somebody who has built an audience for themselves, regardless of whether it's their brand or their personal, and you often hear, which should I brand more? What should I focus on? Should I just develop my personal brand? Should I develop the brand? Should they overlap? Should I include myself in the brand? I would love to know how you differentiate between them for yourself, and then how do you advise others, because how you do things for yourself may not necessarily be how you advise others to do it. So I'd love your
for sure. So I think that a good way to explain the person and the brand would be Steve Jobs and Apple, Richard Branson and Virgin, Gwyneth Paltrow and Goop. So they all have their place, I think, to live, but they're all very separate, right? So like Gwyneth Paltrow has her own accounts. They're all very separate. For me, I don't have a brand that large that I have kept everything together. Don't forget, I started out as a digital entrepreneur sharing about my life. Like womenonthefence.com was a community for women to get unstuck and off the fence. And I led that community by sharing my stuck situation, and I documented my journey getting off the fence. So my personal and professional life were very enmeshed together. So I decided to keep my podcast, everything, my global. So if you go to Erica Diamond on Instagram, you'll see a whole hodgepodge of all the things that I do. So the me brand, the Erica Diamond brand, was very recognizable, but I changed it. It used to not be Erica Diamond. It used to say Women on the Fence. And then I changed it to brand myself, but I decided when I launched Bliss Essential to give it its own life separate from me. So I think what I think is important for any small business or small company or entrepreneur. I think it's important that you don't just show products all the time. I think it's important that people know the people, that like your audience knows the people behind the brand. I think that it makes it more tangible, more real, more spicy, more interesting when you're not just constantly showing the product. I think it's really important for the team and the people and the founder to get behind the camera. I don't care how camera shy you are, to show your face, tell your story. How did the brand, how is it born? And so you'll see that was a perfect example. We see, if you go to Goop, you'll see Gwyneth sprinkled into not every post, but she's sprinkled in there. They dabble, they straddle that fence of both the brand and the products and the articles and its founder. So for me, like I said, I've been the brand for me for what I do as a speaker, entrepreneur, author, TV correspondent. That's me. And then, but I've kept everything under that umbrella. My podcast, I decided to keep everything under my brand. But like I said, 7 weeks ago, I decided to launch a new Instagram account, and holy crap, that's really hard. It's hard, as I told you, to grow something from scratch. But I think I just think it's hard to give a whole general answer, because I think every brand is different. What is the size? Are you a small company starting out? Are you a jewelry brand? And even if you are a small jewelry brand, I still think it's important to get the behind the scenes, that, how things are happening in the office, and throwing up those stories and showing the people. I think it's important. People connect with people, not just with things. So I think you have to be visible. I've always been visible. I think also the what's worked well for me is people use the word authentic, and I think it's really overused, but I think I've taken authentic to like the next level. And I think that was kind of the growth of my brand, which is I've been really honest. And again, I go back to those early articles on womenonthefence.com. I mean, I really bared it all to see. I think a lot of people are afraid to show imperfections or failures. As I told you, I was brought up to not fear failure. That failure is just a roadblock. It's something we overcome. So I think the authenticity and the realness, and saying when I don't know something and asking if I don't know it, I think that's been really key to growing my personal brand. It's just my brand, I think, equates with just, integrity, authenticity, realness, and one of service to women. So the answer is like, I think it's convoluted. Whether do you brand the company, I think that it's important to brand both.
Okay.
I love that you didn't give, because so many people are like black and white on that. And I love that for you, it's something to be worked on and individualized. We are going to go to rapid fire. We have a bunch of rapid fire questions for you, Erica. But to the audience, whether you are listening to us or watching us live on Twitter, on YouTube, or on LinkedIn, you can send in your questions. We will throw them Erica's way. So please don't be shy. And if you're on Clubhouse, please do raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage so you can ask Erica your question. But we're going to go to rapid fire now. Jonathan, you want to start us off?
I am ready to start us off. Let's do it. So, Erica, what is your favorite social platform?
Instagram.
Okay, next question. What is your screen time usage?
I'm embarrassed. Do I have to answer this? It's a lot. It's a shit ton. It's a lot. Can I plead the fifth, or you really want to know?
No, everyone has.
Well, I work on my phone. I have to whisper to them. My kids.
Everyone has a lot, but
I give them a hard time about their screen time, but I work on my phone. I don't know. You want me to look? Let me go look. It's probably like 9 hours.
9 hours isn't a lot. In the onset of Clubhouse, like I think I clocked in 12 or 13 easy.
Screen time, let me see. Daily average. Okay, daily average 7:55. There you go.
Okay, not bad.
It's not bad. It's horrible.
I'm like 6.
All right, next question.
Who's an entrepreneur you admire?
Sarah Blakely. And so our stories, I've written articles on her. We both started our companies in 1999. We both started our companies on $5,000. She became a billionaire. She went on to like Spags billionaire. Oh, sorry. So no, there was more. We both started in 1999. We both started on $5,000. We both bombed our GMATs. Like we had this same trajectory. And then we of course know her trajectory. Not that I don't love my trajectory, but like I just love her. Again, when we talk about authenticity and realness and grit and tenacity, she rocks in my world. I love her. So she is someone that I admire.
Next question is your top 3 must follows on any platform.
Oh, top. Oh God, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Let me look. What do I look at a lot? Well, I guess like I read stuff like the Atlantic and the Washington Post and stuff like that. Who do I like to follow? I'm trying to think. Oh God, I can't even think. I've always I've been like, I'm an Oprah junkie, although I know she's taking a lot of slack today in the news, but I love Oprah. I love, there's someone who I love to follow. What's her name? I'm drawing a blank on Instagram. Is it not Neffy? Sorry. Of course I know the answer to this. I'm like all of them. I love them all. I love Brene Brown. I love Glennon Doyle. I love them all. I especially love to follow Brene Brown. I really like her research on vulnerability and all that stuff. I like Glennon. She's fun to follow. So those are 2. I love Oprah. There's a lot of people that I follow. I'm drawing a blank.
Melton.
Yeah.
Clarifying.
Yeah. Glennon Doyle Melton. Yeah. Her and Abby. There's someone that I love. I forget her name. It's too late. I'm not a night person. I'm not good at night. I can't remember. I'll come back to you.
Okay. Jonathan, this is his favorite question. Get ready, Erica.
This always determines if I like someone or not.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. You can only listen to one artist for the rest of time. Who is it?
Michael Jackson. No, there's 3. Michael Jackson or Stevie Wonder or Prince or Amy Winehouse. There's 4. Any of them. Amy Winehouse, Prince,
Your
Michael Jackson.
Your first answer. That's why I said it helps me determine if I like someone. And
Stevie Wonder. My answer is not
friends.
Michael Jackson. Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder.
Okay, I like Stevie Wonder too, but Michael Jackson.
You like me? You don't like me.
Michael Jackson would have been the best choice, but that Stevie Wonder is also great.
Yeah.
Erica, we're working on Jonathan's tendency to judge people based on their musical taste. So if you have any coaching life tips for Jonathan on that.
Jonathan, I'm a true musicaholic. If you follow me, I know music. So you have to like me because I really am skilled at music. And I'll share some good tunes with you offline. That's my true passion. I want to be DJ mama. Like
Yeah,
day,
I mean,
I
almost.
daytime because I can't stay up late at night. But like I do day parties. I just want to be a DJ.
I love it. Yeah, every time I meet a founder who is really into hip hop and is a startup founder, like almost instantly.
But 90s hip hop's the best hip hop.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. So it's got to be like actual hip hop. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But I think there's a budding friendship here. Before we go, though, and we round it out, I have a couple more questions. Actionable tips for professionals who want to brand themselves. So we're talking about a personal brand and throwing authenticity out of the way. So we know to be authentic, we know to be consistent. But what are your tips that you find that you're, other than being consistent and authentic, what do you find yourself repeating a lot as an advice that you're like, again, like you're repeating it multiple times to different people?
So again, I'll say it again, you need to grab people's email addresses. You want to be always reaching, you want to be trying to gather those email addresses so you can, whatever it is, you may not be selling something now, but you want to offer value. And on your website, there should be a place to subscribe, sign up. Every website should have a place. So you want to be building your list so that you can be building your personal brand. So again, you're showing up online. You want to be able to touch them, I say, if you can, once a week. So that's a really big brand, personal brand builder, is you want to be in their inbox once a week. Every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, my list gets a newsletter from me. Okay. So very important. If you want to get your brand out there, touch them in their inbox once a week if you can. I would say also, like we talked about, showing up consistently, whatever that consistency is for you. It's not like you're there every day and then you pop off the earth for 2 months. Try and, appear consistently, give value, give more than you take and receive. We have a lot of, so I would also say pitch yourself to the media, which is really helpful. That did a lot for my business. I've been on the Today Show. I was on Entertainment Tonight. I've been like on SiriusXM. I've been in Forbes magazine, Entrepreneur magazine. So media and PR and publicity has been really, really helpful. So a great, 2 tips I always say that helped me seal the deal for media, which let me grow my personal brand, which is number 1, storytelling. Do you have a great story? Because people, these media producers, they smell a pitch a mile away, and they smell if you're just trying to kind of promote your business. But if you can give them a really awesome story, that they'll be more inclined to cover you in your business if you can story tell. So that's been really helpful for me to build my brand. So either storytelling is 1, and then 2 is to provide value. So TV and media is all about kind of quick tips and takeaways. So they love like 3 tips too. So if you can provide value with quick sound bites, takeaway tips and value that you can put in front of a producer, that should, that will help you get covered as well, which will in turn build your personal brand. But I definitely think you should be, pitching to producers, radio producers, TV producers, magazine, newspaper editors, give them ideas, write blog posts and send them in. Like, like for me, like always a big thing is, fall is kind of a time where people, seasonal affective disorder, people get really funky in the fall. Like in November, the days are really short. So I always come in November with, 5 tips how to boost your wellness this, fall season, or how to, boost your mood, and like, how can you offer value so that, just always try and offer value that will help, gain recognition for your brand. So any of those things have been helpful, like will be helpful. Sorry, you see, I start to not know how to talk at night.
Get your energy up for tomorrow morning's broadcast. So the last question is, what question do you want to leave our audience with? Anything you think is important, wherever they are in their day and night, in their experience of today, or in their preparations of tomorrow? What question would you like to leave them with, for them to think about?
It has to go back to my branding of self-care. So I would love to invite them to take a long, cold, hard look at their life right now and see how much time they're making for things that matter for them. And if they feel that maybe they're burning out, or they're overly stressed. And by the way, if you go to ericadiamond.com, I do have 4 resources for you to figure these things out. I have a stress quiz, a self-care quiz. So my question would be, Are you ignoring your own needs, right? Are you serving the world while letting your own needs fall down to the bottom of your priority list? And what is the next thing that you can do? What is one thing you could do? Maybe it's waking up 15 minutes earlier in the morning and sitting on a yoga mat and breathing. Maybe it's going to bed earlier at night. Maybe it's taking a bath and listening to a really inspiring podcast. What is the right next move that you can do right now to give to yourself, to fill your cup, to make sure that your gas tank isn't empty? Because when you refill your gas tank, the world, both at your work, your home life, your friends, the world will get the best part of you when you allow for self-care. It is a real scientific proven thing. And the last thing I'd love to invite you to is I'd love everyone to embrace breathing and meditation because it's so important. So if I can offer a tip, if you struggle with stress, sleep, or overwhelm, you can stop what you're doing. I have my clients set an alarm at 10:30 in the morning and 3:30 in the afternoon for a great Dr. Andrew Weil 4-7-8 breath. And that looks like inhaling to the count of 4, holding your breath to the count of 7, exhaling through pursed lips to the count of 8, and repeating that 4 to 6 cycles. That will calm your central nervous system down. It will activate your parasympathetic nervous system, and you can rewire your brain for more joy through breath work. It is really powerful. So just simply the act of breathing will help you when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, when you're sitting at your desk. You can go to the bathroom, sit on the toilet, stand in the cell, and just slow down your body and your mind by breathing. It'll ground you in the present moment, and it'll change your life. It really will. So it's all about self-care. What is the next right thing that you can do for yourself to allow more joy, pleasure, and self-care into your life? That's it.
Such great tips. Such great tips. Thank you. Well, this has been a fantastic interview. Erica, thank you so much for joining us. And then, where should we be following you? Where should be people paying attention to learning more about you?
So you can go to ericadiamond.com. And as I said, if you are listening to this and feeling overwhelmed or stressed, I have a nice 10-minute guided meditation for calm. So I invite all of you to download that. So just go to ericadiamond.com. Everything's there. Everything that I do is there. Also, if you're ready to level up your self-care, tomorrow at blissessential.co, we are launching our back to school Labor Day weekend sale. So go there tomorrow to blissessential.co, and our new immunity blend will be live and ready to go. So you can experience more energy and focus, less stress, better sleep, and greater immunity. So you can go to blissessential.co. And if you're a woman, a professional woman, and you want to reclaim your time and energy, I invite you to get on the wait list for Busy to Bliss, busytobliss.com. You can read all about the program that is going live in 2022 in the new year in January. So get on the wait list so you're notified. If you're a woman, sorry to the guys listening. And so that is an incredible 4-week program that we do together. And if you're looking for a little coaching help, a little yoga, all that stuff is all at ericadiamond.com. So really you can reach me. That my website's the best. And then social, I'm Erica Diamond everywhere on social, and I'm very responsive, and I love hearing from people. So please say hi and don't be a stranger. I'm always on social media.
Erica, thank you so much for
being here. It's been such a privilege getting to know you better. I've known you as a TV personality and as a host and as a speaker, but finding out about starting up a business in your basement in the late 90s and just, growing it so quickly and seeing so much success and transforming your career, your identity, and your brand over the years has been incredibly insightful. I'm very grateful for your time tonight. And I hope you have an amazing show tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Jonathan and Paris. You guys have been awesome, and I'm grateful for our time together. Great questions, great community, and thank you for this interview.
Thank you for being here, Jonathan. I'm going to leave it to you to close out the room.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks again, Erica, for joining us. And Paris, as always, thanks for being such a fantastic co-host. For those listening in, we do this room every single week at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Please do join us. Make sure you're following the club. Follow us on our social handles as well. You can just click on either my or Paris's bio and go to our Twitter. You can even watch the video if you wanted to. So we'll be here next week and look forward to continuing to grow with you all. So I hope you all have a fantastic day, and we'll chat with you all soon. Thanks again.
Bye.
Thank you.